Hello there and welcome once again to The Verdict. Mick Cornett with Kent Meyers. We're here every week, meeting interesting people and dealing with topical issues. And today we welcome in a couple of friends.
Yes, two old-timers, been on the show a couple of times, each of them, Reggie Whitten and Mike Burrage, the co-founders of one of the finest law firms in Oklahoma that has not only done wonderfully well in the practice of law, they have done a lot of great things for the state of Oklahoma and continue to do that. The Whitten Burrage firm, and we're pleased to say, a sponsor of The Verdict now. And I thought it would be good for the guests to meet again, Reggie and Mike, and talk a little bit about Whitten Burrage.
All right, we'll get to it right after this break. Reggie Whitten, Mike Burrage, Mick Cornett, and Kent Meyers today on The Verdict. We'll be right back.
Right now, 6 feet can feel like a long ways away. But from 6 feet, we can still smile at each other. From our doorways and our stairways, from opposite sides of the street and opposite sides of the country. Through fear and frustrations, we can remind each other that we are still here for each other. Because we can still smile at each other. And we're not going anywhere.
Military service ran in my blood, starting from my father, which joined the Navy. On the Chickasaw side, my uncle, which served in the United States Army. I'm Benjamin Espinosa, Chief Petty Officer, United States Navy, and I'm Chickasaw. I went to the Secretary of Defense's staff at the Pentagon in Washington, D.C., which ultimately led to becoming a combat support technician for Naval Special Warfare, specifically SEAL Team 10. I think to be proud and to love your tribe, to love being Chickasaw, you also have to love being American. You also have to love everything that America stands for. Equality, perseverance, professionalism, and power. I want my family to know that their father is a good person, but also feels that he has an obligation to the country and to love this nation. Anything worth having is worth dying for. The military and the country owes me nothing. I owe it everything.
See more stories about the Chickasaw people at profilesofanation.com.
Welcome back to the set of The Verdict. Mick Cornett with Kent Meyers. Kent's going to introduce today's guests.
As we indicated in the open, today we have Reggie Whitten and Mike Burrage from the firm of Whitten Burrage joining us as new sponsors and as longtime friends, frankly. I've known both of the gentlemen for quite some time. Reggie is a co-founder of Whitten Burrage. He grew up in Seminole, Oklahoma. Did his undergraduate work and his law work at the University of Oklahoma. He is a member of the Oklahoma Hall of Fame, along with a lot of other fine honors that he has acquired through good, hard work helping other people. His partner, I should say, insofar as Reggie again he's also the founder of FATE. Now, in a couple of weeks, we're going to have another show with Reggie and FATE, which stands for Fighting Addiction Through Education. But that's a couple of weeks away, but he's one of the founders of that. Mike Burrage is the judge, is once again a longtime friend of mine. He's a co-founder of Whitten Burrage. He did his OU work in both law and undergraduate. He is the first Native American to be designated as a federal judge in the United States, appointed by William Jefferson Clinton. He left the bench to enter private practice, and sometime thereafter he joined up with Reggie Whitten to form the firm. Mike has been president of the Oklahoma Bar Association. He's a member of the American College of Trial Lawyers, as is Reggie. And he also is in the Oklahoma Hall of Fame. I don't think we've ever had two Hall of Fame members on together at the same time. They may fight.
Probably
See
not.
Who gets to talk? Well, welcome, guys. Really glad to have you.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us.
Reggie, tell us about your background and the specifics of the firm and what you all try to accomplish.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you guys very much for having us. It's a real honor. So, as you said, I'm from Seminole, Oklahoma. I grew up in a trailer house. Neither of my parents graduated from high school. I don't know where I'd be today, but for Seminole High School, I got a really good public school education. I had the luck of having the same first grade teacher that David Bourne had. David Bourne's from my hometown. He was a real inspiration to me. There were a lot of inspirational figures there. Judge Frank C. was from Seminole, and he was an inspiring figure to me. But I grew up in the Baptist church in Seminole and felt called to be a preacher. And so I was so shy that I couldn't publicly speak, so I joined the high school debate program. I got lucky again. Seminole High School had won the national championship in debate more than any high school in the United States of America. Isn't that something?
Was David Bourne part of
Yeah.
any of those teams?
Yeah, he absolutely was.
I figured he might be.
And so I joined to get over my shyness, and I was fortunate enough. I was the state debate champ as a senior in high school. Very quickly, I decided I was probably a little more suited to be a lawyer than a preacher. And I used to watch the movie To Kill a Mockingbird, one of the greatest movies ever made. And so I'll tell you this, when I was a kid, everybody in my hometown, I think, looked up to lawyers. We're a country built on the rule of law. This country wouldn't be what it is today without lawyers. So that's what I wanted to be. Now, I think it was in the 70s when the United States Supreme Court ruled that lawyers could advertise for the first time.
In the 70s.
And you would know because you're a professor, but that case changed everything because the lawyer advertising really kind of backfired. And in my hometown, when I went back to visit, all the people were very supportive of me being a law student. My parents were proud of me. The people in Seminole were proud to hear I was going to law school. But it was so bizarre. Once I graduated law school, it was almost like my status went down because now I'm a lawyer. And so many people have negative feelings about lawyers. And I've watched this for the last 42 years that I've been a lawyer. It seems today the image of lawyers has gone down. And I attribute that primarily to advertising. But it's something that you really have to do today. We're sponsoring The Verdict, and there'll be a little ad we have. But heretofore, I think that's the first ad Mike and I have ever run. It is. We get all of our business word of mouth. So I'll just say this, every profession probably has the same number of good people and bad people. I don't care what you are. And lawyers are certainly that way. But I've never had a bar complaint in 42 years. That's pretty hard to do.
Yep.
Mike and I are exactly the same way. We want to win. We're advocates for our clients, but we are not going to lie, cheat, or steal to do that. And we're not even tempted to do it. We play by the rules. And, we don't win all the time. Sometimes our clients are probably supposed to lose, but we give it the best we can. And we've learned, and we teach our young lawyers, that you can win fair and square, follow the rules. And Oklahoma's a great place to practice. 90% of the lawyers we deal with, they're the same way. They don't lie, cheat, or steal. They play by the rules. Every now and then you see somebody that's not necessarily the greatest person, and we deal with them. Yeah. But I'm proud to be a lawyer, and we help people every day that need help. And I've learned a lot of those people that didn't like lawyers, when they get in trouble, they like their lawyer.
Yeah.
Mike, what's your background?
Well, I'm from Antlers, Oklahoma, down in the southeastern part of the state. And when I was down there was two guys that I admired and watched. One was a lawyer named Joe Stamper, who was my mentor, and then another one named Lee West. Lee says he was from Antlers. He was actually from Clayton, but we let him say Antlers. So, that's what made me want to go to law school, and went to law school, and then went back to Antlers with Joe Stamper, and one of my first jobs as a lawyer was general counsel for the Choctaw tribe. I'm a tribal member, and David Gardner had been elected chief, and the secretary said, "The chief's up here to see you," and I didn't know who he was, but he came back there and he said, "You're a tribal member and I need a general counsel." I said, "I don't even know if I know how to spell that, much less be a general counsel, you know." But that's where it started. The tribe had no money. Part of the jobs of general counsel back in those days was going to sewing club meetings, riding wheels, you know, probating estates for tribal members and that sort of thing. I'm still general counsel for that tribe, and it's a multi-billion-dollar enterprise now, doing business all over the world, and I've watched that change, and it's been amazing. But I was on the bench for 7 years, and after I got off the bench, Reggie and I hooked up on 2 or 3 cases, and we got along real well. And so we started the firm, and the firm is sort of a unique firm. You know, most of our work is referrals from other lawyers that bring us cases, and we deal a lot with people who have been wronged, either individually or on a class basis. And we have litigated those types of cases all over the United States, been fairly successful at it. But Reggie and I both want to help people, you know, that have been wronged, and that's kind of what our firm does. And we do have corporate clients that we represent also, but mainly it's the underdog that's what we take on, and we have been doing that successfully for a long time.
Let me jump in and get us to our first break so we can come out and delve into some of these more pertinent legal issues. Reggie Whitten and Michael Burrage are our guests today. You're watching The Verdict with Mick, Cornett, and Kent Meyers. We'll be right back.
At Whitten Burrage, we're litigators. That's all we do. All of our clients, some sort of wrong has occurred to them. We try to right that wrong. Corporate America, they have all the power. It's sort of like going against an army. I like helping the underdog. That's what gets me up out of bed every day.
Our success rate is phenomenal, but that's not all they get. We care about people.
I'm very proud of what we've been able to do for our clients, and I'm looking forward to what we're going to do in the future. There's still a lot of wrongs that need to be righted.
OU Law has a history and heritage that are unparalleled. At the University of Oklahoma College of Law, we empower our students to pursue the career of their dreams. We have the highest U.S. News ranking ever achieved by an Oklahoma law school. We are the first law school in the country to launch a college-wide digital initiative. And this year, our competition teams ranked number 2 in the nation. OU Law, generations of excellence, limitless possibilities.
One of the best kept secrets about the post 9/11 GI Bill benefit is that it can be used at a trade school or a technical school, and it doesn't have to be used at a university or college. These are benefits that the veterans have earned through their service, and they should take advantage of it.
Veterans really need to understand that there are many resources offered by the Oklahoma Department of Veteran Affairs. They are there to help you find the right school for you, the school that will help you and your family make great steps into your future.
Welcome back to the set of The Verdict. Mick Cornett, Kent Meyers, and our guest, Reggie Whitten and Mike Burrage. You guys have been doing this quite a while. What do you look for in a young lawyer? And have the law schools, are they producing any different types of attorneys than they were, say, when you all were students way back when?
Well, you know, a lot of law firms, they start with the grades. You know, where were you in the class? All that sort of.
That's what I always hear. You know,
we don't do that.
He was at this point in his class.
We don't do that.
Yeah.
We, you know, we asked the dean, you know, who are some good law students, but we don't necessarily ask for grades. But we're looking for somebody where the first question is not how much time do I get off for vacation, what are the benefits and so forth. We're looking for somebody that wants to work and work with people in the firm and want to help people and get along and be a part of a group and not an individual.
So you want a passion for the law.
We want a passion for the law and somebody that cares about what they're doing. It's not just a job. I mean, we're there to help our clients, and they've got to share that passion with us. And we've been very lucky, Mick, about that. I mean, we talk to these students. We've got young lawyers in the firm that also talk to these students, or interns. And they talk to them, we talk to them, and if they're number 1 in their class, fine. If they're number 90 in their class, fine. It doesn't matter. And so that's kind of the criteria we use. It's not written down. We don't have a checklist, but it's just somebody that cares about people and is willing to work and get along with everybody.
Yeah, and you know, he would be the number 1, and I would have been number 90. For sure. I'll tell you, I've known Mike for decades, but I was talking to some lawyers one time from Texas, and they were bragging about a friend of ours. They said he scored number 1 on the bar in Arkansas and number 1 on the bar in Texas. They walked away, and Mike Burrage kind of muttered to me. He said, "That ain't no big deal. I did that." But, you know, I'll second what Mike said. I'd say most of our lawyers worked for us as a student. And so we trained them the way we like training them. Not all of them, but most of them. And then I'd say the majority of our lawyers are probably from small towns. We practice law all over the state and in some cases all over the country. But, it just seems like small town people have maybe a better way to communicate to jurors. They talk to people better, I think. And for myself, I don't want to speak for Mike, but I'm kind of prone to hire people that had a rough background, that are underdogs like myself. We've got a young lawyer named Randa Reeves who grew up in, I think she would be the first to say, grew up in poverty, didn't have anything going for her. It's an absolute miracle she made it through school all on her own. She didn't have anybody helping her.
That's right.
Now, she made fabulous grades, won all these honors and everything, but she's one of our finest lawyers and really just she's the ultimate underdog and can do anything. She can do
From Atoka.
From Atoka. Yeah, but she's a Wampus cat. I didn't know what a Wampus cat was till we met Randa. We got another guy, though. We have one guy that went to the University of Arkansas named Rebel Parrish, and he's a small town boy, but he came to us from another law firm. And when I heard his story, he went to a law firm to apply for a job. Well, they didn't have a job. I think it was Car and Car. And they said, we don't have an opening. And he said, well, could I just hang around and watch you guys? And he did. He hung around them unpaid and worked for them until they finally got tired of him being there unpaid, and they felt sorry for them, so they finally did pay him. And when I heard that story, I just said, that's a guy we got to have. That guy is a working machine, and he's turned out to be just a fabulous lawyer, even though he does have 2 red pigs in his office.
Well, you know, Randa's talking about her like she's from Atoka, which is really close to Antlers, but she drove a car for 7 years that didn't have a heater in it. Yeah, I mean, and lived, very sparsely. And the way she's turned out and the type of lawyer she is, it's phenomenal. It's just phenomenal.
We've got another kid, Jordan, who he started working for Mike when he was 5 years old, cleaning his pool and sweeping up. And then Mike
he needs an attorney, I think. He was working that hard at age 5.
He was doing more swimming than he was cleaning on that pool.
Fair enough.
Well, he worked his way through college working for Mike and his wife, Aletha. She was superintendent down there and kind of took this young man under her wing, and Mike did. And so he worked his way all through college, worked for us in law school. And then when he graduated OU, they called Mike and I, and they said, there's 4 awards we give out to graduating seniors, and your guy, Jordan, won one of them. And he's one of our greatest success stories. Just came from nothing to something. He is a heck of a lawyer.
Well, let me ask you how you make such a big footprint in doing good things for other people. Lawyers typically represent their clients, and at the end of the day, they go home, and that's all they think about. Not always, but sometimes. And you guys are well known in the Oklahoma City community, probably well beyond Oklahoma City, for the good things you do for those who need help, people who cannot get by without some additional assistance. And how did that philosophy get inculcated?
Well, Reggie and I both grew up, poor, and so we know what it's like, sort of be tramped on, and we care about what happens to our clients, and we're going to do everything we can to help them, and whether it's more hours, more money in the case, or whatever it takes. It's not a 9-to-5 law firm. You can't work there if that's your philosophy. It's get the job done regardless of what it takes. And Reggie is the same way. I mean, we're not looking at clocks. We're not looking about, we can't put that much money in the case. We put it in there. We go and just do what it takes to get it done.
Well, your results have been startlingly good, not surprising to anybody who knows you very well, but certainly your performance as a law firm and as individual lawyers is at the top of the list. But as I say, the thing that got my attention is how much you're really good as lawyers, but you're really good as non-lawyers. You're good at helping other people when they need help, and you're to certainly be congratulated on that. That's a requirement of all lawyers to do it, but there are very few, if any, that do it as well as you two.
Well, thank you. That was an accident. I knew Mike. I knew we were great partners, but I didn't know he had that kind of heart. It was sort of an accidental benefit, but he has the same heart that I have, and we have found that, there's so much depression in this world today, and I've lost 2 sons, and depression has plagued me since that happened in 2020. It sounds corny, but if you really want to help yourself, you need to help somebody else. That has been very therapeutic for me. I saw a counselor, but my counselor never told me to do that. I stumbled on that. By helping others, it gave a gift back to me. I don't know that I'd be here today if I hadn't stumbled on that gift. And so Mike's just like me. I don't know why he's that way, but we really like helping people. And we're not just saying it, we do.
Well, we were talking earlier about how the general attitude toward lawyers is not very favorable. Mm-hmm. As a matter of fact, I taught a class yesterday at the OCU Law School and started out by saying, why do people hate lawyers? Why don't they like us? Why are we going through 3 years of this and spending all this money to get a degree that allows us to become hated? That doesn't sound like a good thing to do, and let the students...
What an uplifting topic.
Oh, I know. Well, when the 40 students dwindled down to 2, I tried to give them an answer.
They all walked out.
Yes.
I'll say this. I don't know why, but you watch the news, which we all do. I watch it every day, the morning and the evening. If a lawyer does something bad, which they do, just like every profession does. I saw a lawyer a couple of years ago, drove through on video camera some fast food place and was drunk and said some terrible things. That hurts all lawyers. But that'll make the news. Mm-hmm. But Mike Burrage can go down here and help somebody that really needs help, and that doesn't make the news. Yeah.
We're going to have to make that the final word. Hey, thank you all both. First, for the sponsorship of the show, and secondly, for coming on and being our guest on The Verdict.
Well, it's always good to see you. Thank you.
Always good to see you guys.
Thanks for having us.
Kent and I'll have a final word when we return.
This is the epidemic of my generation. This is my HIV. This is my Black Plague.
In the midst of one of our state's largest crises,
Oklahomans are dying from this preventable and treatable disease on a daily basis.
We believe there's hope
That little pill will cause destruction through your whole life.
Watch the entire award-winning 9-part docuseries Killing Pain, made available by Fighting Addiction Through Education at killingpain.com.
It used to be okay in hospitals. It used to be okay in movie theaters. It was okay in classrooms, restaurants, and airplanes. But thanks to a greater understanding of the dangers, that's not okay anymore. So now that we know secondhand smoke causes lifelong health problems, why is it still okay to smoke with children in the car? Bottom line, it's not okay. Let's get serious about protecting kids. Join the fight at stopswithme.com.
All children deserve a life of hope and love, but sometimes they experience a life of pain, neglect, and abuse.
When that happens, each child deserves all the quality assistance and representation that can be offered in our legal system. For more information, call 23-CHILD.
Oklahoma Lawyers for Children, helping to bring hope and love back to the lives of abused children.
You will always be mom and dad to me.
You have children coming from a different lifestyle, different mindset. You have to open your arms and really do what you have to do to have that child become a part of your family. And if it's more patience, that's what you do. Kids gotta know they can trust you. And that's what we try to do with these kids.
You will always be mom and dad to me.
Welcome back to the set of The Verdict. Mick, Cornett, Kent Meyers. We're wrapping up the show with the principals of the Whitten Burrage Law Firm.
Yeah, they have done wonderful work in the practice of law and wonderful work outside the practice of law, and we are just thrilled to have our name associated with them. It's an honor that we're proud of. They are really good lawyers. They're really bright lawyers. They're hardworking lawyers, and they're lawyers that clients are proud to call their own.
Interesting in what they look for in a young attorney. Would
Yes.
you say that's universal, or do
No.
other firms look at it differently?
Well, I'm sure there are different looks at it, but they not only just talk about looking at it that way, that's what they actually do.
We've got to wrap it up. You can find out more information about our guests at whittenburragelaw.com, and we have a website, theverdict.tv. In the meantime, we'll see you next week.